Like, Iran has started campaign, Sacrifice Your Life for Iran, in view of Trump's renewed trample threats.
First, we will protect our people in the region. Second, while taking the necessary action to defend ourselves and our allies, we will not be drawn into the wider war. I have been attacked by some for my decision not to join the offensive against Iran. But at every stage, I've stood by my principles, principles which I held just as strongly when it came to debate about the Iraq War in 2003. Principles which I believe are shared by the British people, that our decision should be based on a calm, level-headed assessment of the British national interest, and that if we are to send our servicemen and women into harm's way, the very least they deserve is to know that they do so on a legal basis and with a proper, thought-through plan. Now, there are others who would have made a different decision 2 weeks ago. They would have rushed the UK headlong into this war without the full picture of what they're sending our forces into and without a plan to get us out. That is not leading, it's following. My leadership is about standing firm for the British interest, no matter the pressure.
Iran's proposal to end war and US response to the proposal. Tehran's proposed agenda for negotiations aimed at ending the war that began with joint US-Israeli strikes on February 28th and has remained paused since April 28th.
Tehran's proposed agenda for negotiations.
Iran had called for an end to the war on all fronts, including Israel's military campaign in Lebanon, as well as a halt to the US naval blockade on Iranian ports that has been in place since April 13th.
Iran also demanded the lifting of all US sanctions and the release of its assets frozen abroad under long-standing American sanctions.
Iran stated that Tehran would continue to control the Strait of Hormuz, a vital global energy corridor that it has largely kept closed since the start of the war. Around 20% of the world's oil supply passes through the Strait of Hormuz. Iranian Armed Forces spokesman Abolfazl Shakachi warned US President Donald Trump against resuming attacks on the Asian nation.
According to the Fast News Agency, Washington presented a list of 5 conditions, including
Tehran would keep only one nuclear site operational. The Islamic Republic would transfer its stockpile of highly enriched uranium to the US. The US would not release even 25% of Iran's frozen assets abroad. There would be no compensation for damage inflicted on Iran during the war. Hostilities on all fronts must cease at the start of negotiations.
Where justice stands, we all belong. No war, only peace, no more harm.
Iran has reportedly sent a secret 14-point proposal to Washington, even as Tehran warns the US will retreat. Senior Iranian advisor Mohsen Rezai warned America would eventually retreat under pressure from Iran's resistance and armed forces. Former IRGC commander Mohsen Rezai made the remarks in a post published on X. Mohsen Rezai said, and I quote, "It sets a deadline for a military strike and then cancels it itself, with this vain hope of making the Iranian nation an official surrender. The iron fist of the powerful armed forces and the great Iranian nation will force them to retreat and surrender." Unquote. This followed Donald Trump's decision to postpone planned large-scale military strikes against Iran earlier this week. Trump said Gulf leaders, including Saudi Arabia and Qatar, urged Washington to delay attacks and allow diplomacy to continue. Tehran insists its nuclear program remains peaceful and follows a religious fatwa banning nuclear weapons development. Iran has reportedly submitted a new 14-point proposal to the United States through Pakistani mediation. Pakistan is expected to deliver Tehran's revised proposal to Washington for further negotiations. Sources close to the Iranian negotiating team said the proposal focuses mainly on ending hostilities and easing tensions. Iran reportedly amended parts of its previous proposal before sending the updated document through Pakistan. The diplomatic effort follows weeks of indirect negotiations aimed at ending the ongoing Iran conflict. Tehran has maintained that current talks are focused only on stopping the war, not Iran's nuclear program. Iran is now reportedly prepared to transfer its stockpile of enriched uranium to close ally Russia instead of handing it over to the United States. The alleged offer was reportedly included in an updated draft outlining Tehran's conditions for a possible peace agreement with Washington. In addition, Tehran reportedly demanded economic concessions from Washington rather than pursuing formal war reparations. Iran's latest proposal is also said to be focused on reducing tensions and gradually rebuilding trust with the United States. Washington has reportedly dismissed Iran's latest 14-point proposal, describing the offer as inadequate and insufficient.
UAE and Oman. US Arab ally switches sides. Holds talks with Iran on Hormuz control after UAE nuclear scare.
Did Iran spook a key US Gulf ally into inching closer to its camp and against Trump on the Strait of Hormuz? Iran held expert-level consultations on shipping safety with US close Arab partner just a day after drones hit the UAE. Is that simple coordination or a sharp geopolitical message to Washington? After strikes on Baraka nuclear power plant, is Oman working with Iran on Hormuz traffic out of shared security concerns, or because it no longer trusts US protection alone? Iran said on May 17 that it is holding talks with Oman about the Strait of Hormuz, focusing on issues related to maritime traffic and security. Officials from Iran and Oman held expert-level consultations in Muscat last week on shipping safety in the strategic waterway. Iran's foreign ministry stated that the two sides are working on a new mechanism to facilitate commercial ship traffic through the Strait of Hormuz. The ministry added that both Iran and Oman have a shared responsibility to ensure the safe passage of vessels transiting the strait. Iran also insisted that it holds no hostility toward regional countries, explicitly mentioning the United Arab Emirates. At the same time, Tehran warned its Gulf neighbors about what it called plots by external powers operating in the region. Iranian officials urged regional states to remain vigilant and stay alert against foreign interference in their affairs.
Iran stealth drones over Tel Aviv. Detection failed. Scared US trying to force Arab ally to invade Iran.
Like, close on heels of Trump's Beijing excursion, Putin visited China. I got better welcome, claimed Trump. Childish.
Putin arrives in China to grand red carpet welcome days after Trump 11 Beijing meet.
After Donald Trump's recent visit, Xi Jinping has now rolled out the red carpet for Russian President Vladimir Putin in Beijing. Russian President Vladimir Putin arrived in the Chinese capital for a high-stakes summit carrying major geopolitical implications. Xi Jinping warmly welcomed his old friend Putin, as global attention shifts to Beijing's increasingly delicate balancing act on the world stage. Ahead of his China visit, Putin also delivered a strong message of solidarity and strategic partnership toward Beijing.
Дорогие китайские друзья, приветствую вас.
Dear Chinese friends, I am glad to visit Beijing once again at the invitation of my longtime good friend, Chinese President Xi Jinping. Regular mutual visits and Russian-Chinese negotiations at the highest level is an important, integral part of our joint efforts to develop all-inclusive relations between the two countries, revealing their truly limitless potential. I am confident that together we will continue to do everything possible to deepen the Russian-Chinese partnership and good neighborly ties for the dynamic development of our two countries and the well-being of our peoples in the interests of maintaining global security and stability. See you soon in Beijing. Thank you for your attention.
Xi Jinping, Vladimir Putin, likely to be in New Delhi for BRICS summit in September. The Chinese and the Russian sides have conveyed to New Delhi that the leaders are likely to come for the summit, the report said.
भारत इस साल सितंबर में ब्रिक्स शिखर सम्मेलन की मेजबानी कर रहा है। 12 और 13 सितंबर को नई दिल्ली में होने वाले सम्मेलन में रूसी राष्ट्रपति पुतिन और चीन के राष्ट्रपति शी जिनपिंग के शामिल होने की संभावना है। सूत्रों के मुताबिक दोनों देशों ने नई दिल्ली को इसकी जानकारी दी है और रूस की सरकारी समाचार एजेंसी ने पुतिन के भारत आने की बात की पुष्टि की है। वहीं अंतर्राष्ट्रीय मामलों के सलाहकार यूरी ने कहा है कि राष्ट्रपति पुतिन 12 और 13 सितंबर को नई दिल्ली में होने वाले ब्रिक्स शिखर सम्मेलन में भाग लेंगे। उन्होंने ये भी कहा है कि नई दिल्ली में ब्रिक्स शिखर सम्मेलन के दौरान राष्ट्रपति पुतिन और चीनी राष्ट्रपति शी जिनपिंग के बीच एक द्विपक्षीय बैठक भी तय की गई है। आपको बता दें कि एक साल के अंदर ये पुतिन का दूसरा भारत का दौरा होगा।
Like Trump halted his second OP epic fury. It was reportedly done at the behest of US's Gulf allies who advised Trump to defer attack till Hajj got over on 30th May. Possible.
We were getting ready to do a very major attack tomorrow. I've put it off for a little while, hopefully maybe forever, but possibly for a little while, because we've had very big discussions with Iran, and we'll see what they amount to. I was asked by Saudi Arabia, Qatar, UAE, and some others if we could put it off for 2 or 3 days, a short period of time, because they think that they are getting very close to making a deal. And if we can do that where there's no nuclear weapon going into the hands of Iran, I think, and if they're satisfied, we will be probably satisfied also. We've informed Israel. We've informed other people in the Middle East that have been involved with us. And it's a very positive development, but we'll see whether or not it amounts to anything. We've had periods of time where we thought pretty much getting close to making a deal, and it didn't work out, but this is a little bit different. Now, we're ready going tomorrow, very big, and not something I wanted to do, but we have no choice because we cannot let Iran have a nuclear weapon.
Like, Tulsi Gabbard has resigned as U.S. National Security Chief, fourth minister to quit.
This is now live on their channel as well that Tulsi Gabbard is now resigning as the Director of National Intelligence. And so, of course, you do know that this is one of the latest people within the Trump administration who is now going to be stepping down from their position since President Trump has been in office during this second term. And so to continue to provide you just a little bit of context about what we know about Tulsi Gabbard, this was an exclusive given to Fox News that Tulsi is resigning from her post as the Director of National Intelligence, and she says this is to support her husband through his battle with, quote, an extremely rare form of bone cancer, according to Fox News Digital. Gabbard did notify President Trump during a meeting in the Oval Office today. Her last day as the director there in the Office of Director of National Intelligence is expected to be next month on June 30th.
Sanglikars Weekly, the ink never dries. Sanglikars Weekly, it's all here for you.
Like, shooting in a mosque in San Diego in USA by 2 teenagers killed 5 and injured many. Shooters killed themselves.
I want to give you some preliminary information to put a lot of minds at ease. There is no further threat. Both suspects in this case are deceased. All of the kids are safe. At about 11:43, we received a call of an active shooter at the Islamic Center. Within 4 minutes, officers arrived on scene and observed immediately 3 what appeared to be deceased victims out in front. They immediately began to deploy with an active shooter response into the mosque and adjacent school. Moments later, at the 3800 block of Hatton, officers were called to that location where they found a vehicle in the middle of the street with who we believe to be the shooters in this incident, both deceased. The circumstances that led up to this and the details of what happened and exactly which time it happened will come out in the days ahead.
Like a leaked cable confirms that USA had planned Imran Khan's ouster, US ishtale democracy.
They say leopards never change their spots, and Pakistan, it seems, never changes its ways. A leaked diplomatic cable has just revealed open secrets about the country. The leaked classified diplomatic document in question, known as a cipher in Pakistan, details a March 2022 conversation between then Pakistani ambassador to the United States, Asad Majid Khan, and US diplomat Donald Lu, which allegedly triggered the removal and eventual imprisonment of Imran Khan. US-based investigative outlet DropSite, which published the original document identified as cable I-0678, suggested that the State Department, under former US President Joe Biden, encouraged Islamabad in a meeting on the 7th of March 2022 to remove Imran Khan as Prime Minister. Why? Over his neutrality on the Russia-Ukraine war. Coincidence? Islamabad would of course prefer you not ask too many questions, but remember, Khan has repeatedly insisted that the United States worked hand in glove with Pakistan's dynastic political parties, specifically the Pakistan Muslim League (PMLN) and the Pakistan People's Party (PPP) to remove him from office.
With respect to the comments that were reported, I'm not going to speak to private diplomatic exchanges, other than to say that even if those comments were accurate as reported, they in no way show the United States taking a position on who the leader of Pakistan ought to be. We expressed concern privately to the government of Pakistan, as we expressed concern publicly about the visit of then Prime Minister Khan to Moscow on the very day of Russia's invasion of Ukraine. We made that concern quite clear, but as the former Pakistani ambassador to the United States himself has stated, the allegations that the United States has interfered in internal decisions about the leadership of Pakistan are false. As we've stated, they're false. They've always been false, and they remain false.
AI News. AI News. Like, Elon Musk lost his suit against OpenAI. Jury said Musk delayed action.
It took less than 2 hours for Elon Musk to lose his massive case he brought against OpenAI and its CEO Sam Altman. The jury in Oakland, California, deliberating for just over 90 minutes, and they found that Elon Musk waited too long to bring this lawsuit against OpenAI. He helped fund and co-found the AI company, and he was alleging that OpenAI and its leaders breached a charitable trust and unjustly enriched themselves, essentially stole a charity because they transitioned from being a pure nonprofit to its current for-profit structure overseen by nonprofit foundation. OpenAI, of course, is now one of the most valuable tech companies in the world.
Like, in a second incident of its kind, students booed Google's ex-CEO Eric Schmidt when he spoke on AI at University of Arizona. A cockroach moment?
The architects of artificial intelligence. Interesting. The question is whether you will help shape artificial intelligence. We do not know. We do not know. I know what many of you are feeling about that. I can hear you. There is a fear. If you don't care about science, that's okay, because AI is going to touch everything else as well. Whatever path you choose, AI will become part of how work is done. Let me give you some advice. First, find a way to say yes. Listen. You bring the judgment. You bring the conscience. You bring the perspective. Thank you very much and good night.
Microsoft AI chief Mustafa Suleyman has a grim warning for every office worker. He says, artificial intelligence will automate most white-collar professional tasks, including legal, accounting and marketing work, within 18 months.
You could lose your desk job to AI in the next 1 year. I'm not saying this. Microsoft's AI CEO Mustafa Suleyman is. And the warning is blunt. If you're into law, accounting, marketing, or project management, basically any job primarily performed on a computer, you could soon witness your core tasks getting automated within the next 12 to 18 months. Not gradually, not someday, within months. Suleyman also said that within the next 2 to 3 years, AI agents will be able to coordinate tasks inside large companies and start acting more independently. They'll even integrate directly into enterprise systems. Simply put, AI may not just assist employees, it could begin running large parts of workflows on its own. And here's another bold prediction. Suleyman believes creating AI models will soon be as simple as starting a podcast or writing a blog. Think about it. That could mean institutions or maybe even individuals like us designing customized AI systems tailored to exact needs. That's not just automation. That's a fundamental shift in how white-collar work gets done. Now, Microsoft does not want to just use AI. It wants to lead it and define the rules. Yes, the tech giant aims to build its own frontier-level foundation AI models and hence reduce long-term reliance on OpenAI, in which it has about 27% stake. If AI can automate core digital tasks, what happens to companies built on billing human hours? It doesn't stop there. Healthcare is another major target. Suleyman says Microsoft aims to build medical superintelligence, AI systems designed to reduce doctor shortages and tools to shorten waiting times. If achieved, AI will not just transform offices. It could move into hospitals, diagnostics, and even frontline decision making.
You are watching Sanglikars Weekly. Sridhar Vembu says, prepare for tough times as economic picture is getting grimmer, warns AI hype may not last long. Sridhar Vembu in his X post wrote, how is it that in the US, the AI leader, a good part of the population, even a lot of college students, have come to hate AI? It does not help that companies are blaming job losses on AI, which is both convenient and, as an added bonus, makes a company look visionary. The layoffs are related to rising cost pressures. We experience those pressures too, so we know this firsthand. The economic picture is getting grimmer. The AI investment bubble has kept the US economy afloat, but that can only go on for so long. Zooming out, I believe what we are witnessing is the gradual collapse of the post-World War II global economic and political order. Before you think Orange Man bad, this process was well underway with the global financial crisis in 2008-9. That is why I said zoom out, think in decades. Note that the iPhone unleashed mobile revolution did not prevent the GFC growth factor concentrate. AI will not magically cure global imbalances. We must prepare for tough times ahead. I would be happy to be proved wrong, so please present ideas that disagree with this. Sridhar Vembu says, prepare for tough times as economic picture is getting grimmer, warns AI hype may not last long. Sridhar Vembu in his X post wrote, how is it that in the US, the AI leader, a good part of the population, even a lot of college students, have come to hate AI? It does not help that companies are blaming job losses on AI, which is both convenient and, as an added bonus, makes a company look visionary. The layoffs are related to rising cost pressures. We experience those pressures too, so we know this firsthand. The economic picture is getting grimmer. The AI investment bubble has kept the US economy afloat, but that can only go on for so long. Zooming out, I believe what we are witnessing is the gradual collapse of the post-World War II global economic and political order. Before you think Orange Man bad, this process was well underway with the global financial crisis in 2008-9. That is why I said zoom out, think in decades. Note that the iPhone unleashed mobile revolution did not prevent the GFC growth factor concentrate. AI will not magically cure global imbalances. We must prepare for tough times ahead. I would be happy to be proved wrong,
So please present ideas that disagree with this.
World News. Keir Starmer, British PM, appears to have got a breather, for now.
Is Keir Starmer, British Prime Minister, set to resign? Since David Cameron resigned in 2016, the United Kingdom has had 5 Prime Ministers: Theresa May, Boris Johnson, Liz Truss, Rishi Sunak, and Keir Starmer. The chronological order of British Prime Ministers since Cameron includes: Theresa May, 2016 to 2019, assumed office after the Brexit referendum. Her tenure was heavily focused on negotiating the terms of the UK's exit from the European Union, and eventually stepped down following repeated failures to get her Brexit deal through Parliament. Boris Johnson, 2019 to 2022, took over to get Brexit done. His term saw the official UK exit from the EU and the handling of the COVID-19 pandemic. He resigned in 2022 after losing the support of his Conservative Party due to a series of scandals.
Liz Truss, 2022. Served the shortest premiership in British history. She resigned after 49 days following market turmoil caused by her controversial economic mini-budget. Rishi Sunak, 2022 to 2024, took office during a period of economic and political instability. He served until the Conservative Party lost the general election in 2024. Keir Starmer, 2024 to present. Leader of the Labour Party, who won a landslide victory in the 2024 general election to become the current Prime Minister. Is he too set to resign soon?
According to a recent report, UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer is now weighing the option of stepping down from his top post. The story, first discussed by Daily Mail journalist Dan Hodges, attributes the information to an unnamed cabinet minister. Hodges' piece says Starmer understands the political reality facing his government and may choose to depart on his own terms. Hodges wrote, and I quote, "He realizes the current chaos is unsustainable. He simply wants to be able to do it in a dignified way and in a manner of his own choosing. He will set out a timetable." Unquote. RT News noted that while the Daily Mail reported Starmer was considering resignation, it did not provide a clear date or concrete timeline for when any departure would occur. According to multiple accounts, some of Starmer's closest allies have been urging him to delay any resignation until after the Makerfield by-election in June.
Andy Burnham is allowed to run in the candidate selection process for the Makerfield by-election, Labour Party says. The constituency's current MP is stepping down to allow Burnham the chance to become an MP again. Polling expert John Curtis says the Mayor of Greater Manchester, Andy Burnham, a prominent Labour politician, faces a formidable challenge. The likely date for the contest is the 18th of June, reported the BBC. Earlier, Wes Streeting's allies said he intended to stand in any future Labour leadership race. Both Wes Streeting and Burnham are seen as potential challengers to PM Keir Starmer. If successful, Mr. Andy Burnham is widely expected to challenge Sir Keir Starmer for the party leadership.
Andy Burnham has been given the go-ahead to stand in the Makerfield by-election, and he doesn't have to give up his job to do it. Labour's NEC has confirmed he can be included in the selection process, but that doesn't mean he will be chosen as a candidate. In the meantime, he can stay on as Greater Manchester's elected mayor, and if he is successful and then voted in as an MP in the by-election, he'll have to stand down as mayor because of the Police and Crime Commissioner powers included in the mayoral role. As Burnham does become the MP, it's thought by many that he will challenge Keir Starmer for the job of Prime Minister.
Frontrunner for new UK PM, Wes Streeting wants Brexit reversed. Leaving EU was catastrophic, he said in his first speech after resigning as Health Minister. Streeting described Britain's 2016 referendum decision to leave the bloc as a catastrophic mistake.
Leaving the European Union was a catastrophic mistake.
Wes Streeting said Britain would one day be back in the European Union, and Britain must pursue a new special relationship with the EU.
It's left us less wealthy, less powerful, and less in control than at any point before the Industrial Revolution. we need a new special relationship with the EU because Britain's future lies with Europe and one day, back in the European Union.
Streeting says he would join leadership race, as Burnham vows to save Labour.
Mr. Streeting, you've just called for a proper contest for the Labour leadership and you called on Labour to step up. Are you going to step up and contest the Labour leadership? End the suspense now, please.
John, we need a proper contest with the best candidates on the field and I'll be standing.
Battle for Labour. Streeting versus Burnham. Battle for Britain. Streeting versus Burnham.
You are watching Sanglikars Weekly.
Bangladesh has drawn a hard diplomatic line with India, warning that the future of their bilateral relationship will be determined by whether a new Ganges water sharing treaty is signed before the current agreement expires in December 2025. The 1996 treaty, negotiated during the Awami League government of deposed Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina, is one of the most consequential water-sharing agreements in South Asia, and its expiry has set off alarm bells across Bangladesh.
BNP Secretary-General Mirza Fakhrul Islam Alamji issued the stark warning at a public event, demanding that New Delhi enter immediate negotiations that reflect the needs and expectations of Bangladesh's people. He stressed that the current treaty must remain in force until a new one is signed, and that future agreements should not be bound by fixed time limits. The warning comes just days after Bangladesh's government approved a massive Padma barrage project aimed at offsetting the effects of India's Farakka barrage, which Bangladesh has long blamed for reduced dry season water flows, salinity intrusion, river degradation, and agricultural losses in its delta region. Bangladesh border becomes flashpoint amid BJP's security push.
Political and diplomatic flashpoint is now brewing between India and Bangladesh. The new BJP government in the state of West Bengal has moved to fast-track fencing along the India-Bangladesh border. In the very first cabinet meeting after a landslide election win, Chief Minister Suvendu Adhikari announced that he will begin handing over land for border fencing to the Border Security Force, known as the BSF. And the state government says the entire process will be completed within 45 days. The BJP had made border security and illegal infiltration a central issue during the election campaign. And now the party says it is moving quickly to deliver on that promise. Now, the Indian state of West Bengal shares a border with Bangladesh over 4,000 kilometres long, one of India's longest international borders. According to the Union Home Ministry, more than 3,200 kilometres of the border have already been fenced, but around 850 kilometres have not, including several stretches of difficult terrain in the Sundarbans. In India, the BSF handles border security, but the state government controls land transfer, local clearances and administrative support needed for fencing projects. The BJP has long accused the previous Mamata Banerjee government in West Bengal of delaying that process. During the election campaign, the BJP repeatedly claimed that incomplete fencing was allowing illegal infiltration from Bangladesh. But the announcement of border fencing has caused concern in Dhaka.
Bangladesh is not afraid of barbed wire. Where we need to talk, we will talk. We don't want to become involved in their internal politics because our relationship is primarily with the central government.
Nepal plans major legal reform on consensual teenage relationships.
Nepal is preparing to amend its criminal law to reduce penalties in cases involving consensual relationships between teenagers, following concerns that existing provisions are criminalizing adolescent attraction. A government task force formed by the Ministry of Law, Justice and Parliamentary Affairs has recommended adding a Romeo and Juliet clause to the National Criminal Code. The panel includes representatives from the Supreme Court, the Attorney General's Office, police and legal experts. The proposal introduces an exemption for consensual relationships between adolescents, where the age difference does not exceed 3 years. Officials say standard rape provisions would continue to apply in cases involving coercion, exploitation, or wider age gaps. In fact, at present, Nepal's law classifies any sexual relationship involving a person under 18 as rape, regardless of consent. The legal marriage age remains 20. Authorities say the reform responds to a rise in cases where teenage boys faced prosecution after relationships were opposed by families.
Like Canada's oil-rich province, Alberta will hold a referendum in October on leaving Canada. PM Carney is from Alberta.
I am announcing today that I will be requesting our government add an additional question to the October 19th referendum vote announced previously. The additional question will be, should Alberta remain a province of Canada? Or should the government of Alberta commence the legal process required under the Canadian Constitution to hold a binding provincial referendum on whether or not Alberta should separate from Canada? Because this proposed referendum question does not directly trigger separation, but if successful, would ask Alberta's government to commence the legal process necessary to hold a binding referendum on the matter, the recent court ruling would not be applicable, and the referendum question I outlined could proceed. This question will also ensure the 700,000 signatories to both the Forever Canada petition and the Stay Free Alberta petition are respected, and the will of Albertans is heard. Now, obviously, Alberta's first ever provincial vote on our province's future in Canada is of monumental importance. As such, I feel it is important to clearly state my personal position so Albertans know where I stand. I have repeatedly stated that the position of the UCP caucus and UCP government is to build a strong and sovereign Alberta within a united Canada. I have never deviated from that position, and I will not do so now. I will therefore be voting for Alberta to remain in Canada, while continuing to work each and every day to restore and strengthen provincial rights under the Canadian Constitution. The vast majority of those advocating for separation love our province profoundly. Many are also proud Canadians that have simply lost hope that their families can flourish within Canada. So instead of attacking these loyal Albertans, let's work together to restore hope in their country again. Let's use the power of hope and persuasion and reject the language of division and demonization. We are, after all, each other's neighbors, friends, and family.
You are watching Sanglikars Weekly. Like WHO, World Health Organization says Ebola outbreak in Congo and Uganda is a matter of international concern. Vaccine?
The Ebola outbreak in the Democratic Republic of the Congo is spreading rapidly. Previously, WHO assessed the risk as high at the national and regional levels and low at global levels. We're now revising our risk assessment to very high at the national level, high at the regional level, and low at global level. So far, 82 cases have been confirmed in DRC, with 7 confirmed deaths. But we know the epidemic in DRC is much larger. There are now almost 750 suspected cases and 177 suspected deaths. The situation in Uganda is stable, with 2 cases confirmed in people who traveled from DRC, with 1 death. The measures taken in Uganda, including intense contact tracing and cancelling the Martyrs' Day commemoration, appear to have been effective in preventing the further spread of the virus. An American national who was working in DRC has also been confirmed positive and transferred to Germany for care. We're also aware of reports today about another American national who is a high-risk contact who has been transferred to the Czech Republic.
Like, Czech president has asked NATO to show its teeth. Like 90 are killed, 240 trapped in a coal mine blast in China's Shanxi province.
The explosion took place in Liushenyu coal mine in Qinyuan County, Shanxi province on Friday evening. 247 workers were in the underground facility at the time. State media say 123 survivors were treated in hospital, many from exposure to toxic gases. Around 30 have been able to return home. Some remain in critical condition. Dozens have died. The primary cause, suffocation. 750 emergency personnel have been dispatched to the site. The facility is owned by Shanxi Tongzhou Group, a mining conglomerate which has reportedly been sanctioned before for safety violations. Executives at the firm have been detained pending an investigation into the disaster. President Xi Jinping has called for an all-out effort to help those affected. China's mining safety record has improved in recent years, but fatal incidents continue to occur. In 2023, more than 50 miners were killed in Inner Mongolia when a pit mine collapsed. This accident at Liushenyu coal mine is the worst in more than a decade.
Like in Vietnam, jailed tycoon. My land's Birkin bags were auctioned for $535,000.
A woman jailed for life has had 2 handbags sold for over $500,000. Vietnamese banking tycoon Trong My Lan, who was jailed for orchestrating a $44 billion banking fraud, had 2 Hermes Birkin bags confiscated by the government. And when they went to auction this week, a white crocodile skin Birkin went for $440,000. The second bag sold for nearly another $100,000. Together, that's more than $535,000 or £399,000 for 2 handbags. So why were they sold? During her trial in 2024, Trong My Lan asked the court to let her keep the bags as family heirlooms for her children and grandchildren. But after she was convicted, authorities seized the bags, along with more than 1,200 luxury assets, to offset the billions she embezzled. She was originally sentenced to death, but after Vietnam changed its death penalty laws last year, that was reduced to life in prison. Now, her designer bags are becoming collector's items. Rare Birkin bags are seen as investments, with some being sold for millions. But would you pay $440,000 for a handbag?
Like in sports, Arsenal was crowned Premier League champion first time in 22 years.
Glory, it takes time. 1 second, 90 minutes, 22 years. Some moments in time are special. You feel connected, alive, invincible.
And the deserving champions are Arsenal.
But times change. The place you call home looks different. You say goodbye to loved ones, not knowing when you'll see them again. Seasons pass and you wonder if things will ever feel the same. Then one day, the dawn looks brighter.
If I wouldn't feel that I'm ready and prepared for this, I wouldn't be sitting in this chair.
Storms pass, and when the sun shines, there's this energy, emotion, nostalgia. Faces change, but the spirit of decades past echoes in the present. You can't go back in time, but through togetherness, belief, resilience, you break your own barriers.
Sealed with a kiss.
You forge your own path.
And it's in!
You create your own history.
Max Baumann, the youngest goal scorer in Premier League history.
22 years since they won a Premier League title. It's in their grasp. It's in their hands.
And look what it means for everybody here.
The wait is over. Arsenal are Premier League champions once again.
And finally, there is no way to peace. Peace is the way.
Lazy Bee, the 23rd of May, 2026.